If only Edgar Wright got his hands on this premise, this could have been something for the ages. Hey there, cinephiles. Today I'm reviewing Novocaine. In this, we follow Nathan Kane, played by Jack Quaid, and, well, his character can't feel pain. He ends up getting mixed up in some bank robbery, and in this, they take hostage of the girl he likes, played by Amber Middunder, which, such a cool last name. But in this, she plays Sherry, and we're basically just following Jack Quaid on his quest to save her. This is just some silly, stupid fun, especially with how I got to see this for my press screening, which was in 4DX. Now, I've done 4DX a few times, and this wasn't the best use of it. For some reason, it was just kind of inconsistent and not exactly synced up to the movie, where in some scenes we do feel the punches and we just go with the movements of the screen. There are a lot of other parts where either you feel nothing or it's just slightly off after the punch. Of all of the times I've done 4DX, this is probably towards the bottom of my list, but it could also be a lot worse. Either way, the movie itself is a fun enough time. It's not going to blow anyone's mind or be this grand new thing. I mean, if it is for you, wonderful. But even though I do see this being enjoyable by the masses, I don't think it's going to be anyone's favorite of the entire year. But this definitely has enough of crowd-pleasing elements that this is going to make for a very fun time in a theater, especially if it's crowded. There are some fun and clever moments with his superpower, but I do wish this film utilized it a bit more. There's one scene in particular with an arrow that I absolutely loved. However, I was wanting more of that, especially as the movie went along. I think that would have tied into his character a bit more. And you can see them attempting to do that, but it just felt like something was lacking a bit. And especially since that wasn't as utilized as it could have been, it made all of the other stuff surrounding the main character, which are just generally a bunch of cliches, it just felt even more cliche due to it. Basically, this movie really works when it's going down the path of what makes it unique. But whenever you're with some side characters or some side quests and it's just some cliche stuff, they never quite break the mold of what came before it. And because the writing isn't the strongest, you just kind of feel bored and wanting to fast forward through those moments. A lot of these side characters and side plots, when it's all balled up, it just feels like a product of just been there, done that before, which makes it feel like this movie that's only an hour 50 minutes drag out to basically 2.5 hours. For example, there's these two cops who are following the case as it unfolds, and any scene they're in, it just feels like they're added there either last minute or just to pad the runtime, because without them, there wouldn't be any emotional value lost from this movie at all. And unfortunately, with Jacob Batalon's character, it didn't do anything interesting enough with him, because you saw where it was going with it, and yet nothing amazing really came from it. It was just kind of stuff that you saw coming from a mile away. And with Ray Nicholson as the main antagonist, they try to do this thing where he's a smarmy, wise villain, but it just never fully lands for me. I wish they just would have went the more menacing route, because anytime he was just talking and he talked a good amount, I just didn't care for it. As for the two lovebirds, though, they were fine at least. Amber Midthunder, although I wanted more from her, the story and script just wasn't there for her to really kind of hit a home run. For the most part, she was just kind of written generically, and the thing that happens with her, you also kind of see coming a mile away. And it's not that she was bad in this, she just did as well as she could. As for Jack Quaid, though, I enjoyed what I saw from him. I really like him as a leading man, especially for his second movie of 2025. I like what he's doing with his career, especially in film. I do wish this was as good as Companion that came out earlier this year, but it was still a fun enough time, and he was charming enough and likable enough as a lead that I'm glad I got to be with him for most of this runtime. But yeah, as for the movie plot-wise, you're just following this guy on a save quest who's socially awkward and has this superpower of not feeling pain. Besides the not feeling pain part, you've seen this movie a million times, so it's kind of hard to fully recommend this movie. I mean, I'm sure if you like the trailer or you think you're going to like this movie, you're going to like it. If you don't think you're going to like the film, probably don't watch it. But I do think this will be enjoyable for most people who do end up watching this movie, because it does have a kind of broad appeal, especially for those who do like action comedies. I give Novocaine a 2.5 out of 5 stars. It does a well enough job. It's just not necessarily anything I'm going to really remember by the end of the year, though. And that's mostly because I do wish it had fresher takes on the tropes that it's employing in the whole entire movie. But alright, those are my thoughts on Novocaine. Be sure to let me know what you think of it down in the comments below. As always, thank you guys for liking, commenting, and subscribing. Be sure to stay tuned for more Yeti Films content, and I'll watch you later.